anticipated day. We have our choir celebrating with us today. I'm so excited. I'm Maggie Alderman, and it is my great pleasure to serve this community as your ministerial intern. And would you please join me in a moment of prayer as we prepare ourselves for our celebration service? I invite you to take a deep breath and close your outer eyes and become present in this now moment. At the 11 o'clock service, we have moved through a lot of our morning. There's been a lot of activity, a lot of thoughts and feelings, and our to-do list, I am sure, is a mile long. But let us do our very best to set that aside and recognize breathing in to that Christ presence within. That is our life force. It is the very nature that connects us to the one presence and the one power that is God the good, omnipotent. God the good. All things are unfolding right now in divine order for our highest good. We are grateful to have this time to come together and connect, to witness and sharing these spiritual gifts as our voices are uplifted, our hearts are uplifted in song today, and we celebrate moving into the power of love in Advent. We are love and life in action. We are so grateful for this truth, for the knowing and the opportunity to show up again and again and again as God for each other. And so we say thank you, God. And so it is, and so we let it be. Amen.
Amen. Thank you, Maggie. And this is our third Sunday of Advent, and this is the week of love. So as we light the Christ candle, which is always lit within us, we know that we are one with Christ in that consciousness. In that first week of hope and faith, we know that it's with hope and faith that we do all that we want and need do in peace. Oh, it's great when we can call in serenity and wholeness in our beings as last week's Advent. And this week is the week of love. And boy, the love light is on. So let's let that be our guide as we come together in this time. Boy, what a beautiful sight it is from up here to see all of you. If you have a smart device, like an Apple Watch, or a phone, or any device that might ping, ring, or do something, let's send it into the silence. Let's turn it off. Let's give it an opportunity to receive its messages while we're receiving ours. Unity is a spiritual community that fosters personal transformation for healing, for wholeness, and for an intimate connection with the divine. We do this through affirmative prayer and meditation that opens us to realize our oneness with God. Now we honor the light that lives in all religious and spiritual traditions, for we know the light basking through every stained glass window, through every mosque dome, through every cathedral, through every chapel, through every church tent, is the very same light shining in us, and we call that light God. Now we know that what we say, what we believe, creates our experience. But when we say what we believe with conviction, or what I like to say with gusto, it ignites a powerful force in the universe. So let's say this great truth together with gusto. There is only one presence, one power, active in my life and in the universe. God the good, omnipotent. And so it is. And it is with great joy that we welcome our Unity Choir, led by Donna Burns and Gwen Gabriel. if that was just the first of 3 songs with the choir. I love it. If this is your first time here in our presence, if you're willing to stand, we'd like to know your name and what brought you here today. Beautiful. Hold on just a moment. I'm going to bring the mic up so that we can all hear who you are. Hi.
My name is Giuseppe, and a dear friend of mine is a person that comes to Unity, and so she's been telling me for many years to come to Unity, so I thank you for welcoming me to your home. Thank you.
Beautiful. Welcome. Well, we love to bless people. Oh, we have another. How beautiful. Thank you. Or 2 more over here.
Hi, I'm Marissa Isharte, and I actually went to the Christmas party for Woolsey Construction, and I met this gentleman and his wife. I got set at the end of the table next to them, and they introduced me to this church. And I've been looking for a long time for a good one, so I'm happy to be here, and I have a whole tribe that I brought. So, yeah, nice to meet you guys.
Beautiful. Welcome. Now, for our visitors, the usher has brought you a packet of information. It's about Unity as a whole and about this church. On the front cover is a blue coupon. If you fill that out and take it to the Sacred Corner bookstore, they'll give you a free gift. And we welcome you here. We love to bless people. So we like to rub our hands, connecting with our hearts as we say, "Dear friends, we love you, we bless you, we appreciate you, and we behold the Christ in you. Namaste." How beautiful that is. We are live streaming. I love that we get to do this for the 11 o'clock service. That camera up there is where we're welcoming those people who are all over the world. Let's turn around. Let's give them a wave, a howdy. We love you. And we're so blessed that you've joined us here this morning. And I'd like to invite up our beloved board member, Katie Rydell, who's going to lead us in the daily word. Thank you, Katie.
Good morning. The word for today is love. I immerse myself in God's love. God's love is a gift that each member of the human family shares. It is the love that binds us together and gives us the ability to create harmony in the world. When we make the decision to think, feel, and act lovingly, we live as the love that we are, and the love between us blossoms and grows. Today, I immerse myself in the awareness of God's love within me. My heart overflows with a renewed and growing awareness of this love that created and sustains me. I am motivated to give of myself in service to others. I release old resentments and offer forgiveness to those who have hurt me. I smile and share my joy. I embrace oneness with God and harmony with all people. And now faith, hope, and love abide, these 3, and the greatest of these is love. 1 Corinthians 13:13. Will you please say the affirmation with me? I immerse myself in God's love. And our vision is a goal that our church holds collectively for ourselves and also for the world. Will you say this vision with me? A world powerfully transformed through the growing movement of shared spiritual awakening.
This is a beautiful vision, and as we bring this into manifestation, we're going to arrive that by doing our mission actively. Together, acknowledging the divinity within, we welcome and empower all through fellowship, education, and service to our community and the world.
And today's core value is spirit-filled. My entire being is filled with the energy of spirit. Bowls are used for receiving, and pitchers are used for pouring out. They have different purposes. When we spend time together, we usually adopt a bowl mentality. The bowl approach means expecting others to fill it up with teaching, insight, advice, or wisdom. But the pitcher approach is vital in the world where we pour out our encouragement, comfort, friendship, and love to others. Those we serve in our lives, families, friends, our church, community, even the whole world, need what we store in our pitchers. But the trick lies in filling your pitcher in order to pour it out. And this is where Spirit comes in. God's love is flowing all around you in your comforts and ideas, but also in your conflicts and obstacles. Tap into the flow of abundance. Key into this awareness that Spirit is unlimited supply and you've already succeeded. When your pitcher flows with the energy of Spirit, the effect is incredibly rich, invigorating, and life-giving, and we are blessed both in the giving and the receiving. So please say today's affirmation with me. My entire being is filled with the energy of Spirit.
Thank you, Katie. And this is a time for us to congregationally sing. So if you're able, please stand and let's sing, Hark the Herald Angels Sing. Just a side note, that sounded so good, you're all admitted into the choir. That was beautiful. Thank you, Maggie. We are so enjoying this journey of bringing our Sundays in December as a result of this inspired booklet that Unity puts out a booklet every year for the Advent season. This one's called Christmas in My Heart, Christmas in My Hand. I hope most of you have received your copy. There's a few left on the welcome table. Just two. Well, this is good. You know what? Advent, love, this is what we're about today, isn't it?
It is, and we're going to talk about how only love is real.
I love that.
I love it too.
And so we're going to pull from the booklet from Wednesday, December 18th. This is Reverend Ken Daigle, who's a dear friend of both of ours. He's the senior minister at Unity of San Francisco. He says, set an intention to open your heart and leave it open, no matter what. Go through each experience and interaction with your heart in a state of acceptance and compassion. If you feel yourself constricting, practice radical acceptance by opening your heart. This is a journey. It's a journey of courageous choice. It's a choice because we have to choose whether we're going to open our hearts, whether we're going to accept what is, or whether we're going to remain closed. We're free to choose at any point. It's part of the journey. And when we feel that constriction, which could come in the form of shadow or shame or anger or guilt or fill in the blank. It requires radical acceptance, which is another way of saying unconditional love. That's that divine love that's always present within us, always giving us the freedom to choose how we want to respond to life. I love the train. It comes through just when there's a point to accentuate movement into Christ consciousness. So I'll continue by, this reading continues with this in the booklet. The world needs love where it appears not to be. To remain loving in the face of hatred, anger, and bigotry does not mean we condone the behavior. Closing our hearts gives energy and importance and traps the very thing we resist. We don't want that. We don't want that at all. Because if we're holding on to that, then what kind of movement are we going to have? What kind of opportunity we're going to have? We're going to have another opportunity to sit on the pity pot. We're going to have another opportunity to play martyr, to feel victim. It's part of the human journey. We're going to feel those things. We are not always going to be blissed out and happy. It's not been my experience, and I'm happy most of the time. But still, life happens, and we get to choose. And so he concludes this writing by saying, only love is real. If we can stay open, we can bring our loving Christ's presence where it is needed most. And divine love changes the situation forever. So this is what we're being called to do. This is the Advent season where we are on a journey to remember that Christ consciousness lives and breathes us, brings us to our life, to our very being. And we love a time of year when we get to remember the truth that's always true.
That love is only real. Only love is real. I don't know why I keep flip-flopping those. It works either way.
That's right.
Only love is real. And I'm glad that you brought up courage and bravery, because the next slide has a quote from American theologian Frederick Buechner, and he says, "The place God calls you to is the place where your deep gladdens and the world hunger meet." I had not heard of this theologian, so I did a little bit of research, and this particular quote is one that he is best known for. But if you're like me, it didn't quite jive. I wasn't sure what the glad was. It seemed like a no-brainer, but I needed confirmation. He's talking about our essence, our soul, the clean slate that we come born with in this life. And the courage that he's speaking about, that Gary mentioned, is the courage to accept the call. A call is something that we can't not do. How many times have you had a nudge from Spirit? Have you felt like you needed to say yes to something or exert yourself, extend yourself out beyond your comfort zone? That's a call. And how many times do we say, "Oh, no, not me"? Donna asked me if I'd be in the choir. Now, I know I have no business in that choir. But you all did. And thank God you answered the call. You brought us to our highest essence today. I had tears in my eyes just hearing the gifts that you share I do not possess. So I say thank you, because you met, for me, a need. When we have a call, a gift, a spiritual gift, a talent, a capability, and we're asked or invited or feel like that needs to be brought forward, and we don't do it out of fear or out of separation. We are born into a circumstance, an environment, and a life that is clean, full of possibility, and immediately we start jamming it full of experiences in our subconscious. The things, the people, the environment that may feed us false information, telling us that we don't need to do that. But the truth of the matter is if you're being called, if we're having that thought in our mind, that is the whisper of God saying, do this, be that, go here. There is a need in this time and space for us to all be willing to say yes. So do we have the courage to choose love? Do we have the courage and the awareness to choose again when doubt arises and say yes to meeting a need in this world, which right now I think we could all agree is just plain healing? Yes?
Yes. And there's times when we're going to be living small.
Absolutely.
There's times where life is just going to be, I'm just going to breathe. And I don't even know if I can breathe. Because we know those painful moments. We know when the argument is not a communication device, it's a volleying of information. We're choosing to identify with that Christ consciousness. And Emmett Fox has written some wonderful books, a powerful minister. There is no difficulty that enough love will not conquer. No disease that love will not heal. No door that enough love will not open. Now, we're not talking about puppy love here. We're talking about the power tool love. We're talking about God. Because if only love is real, and there's only one power and presence in the universe in our life, then that is love. So let's reread it with, there is no difficulty that enough God will not conquer, no disease that God will not heal, and no door that enough God will not open. This is powerful because we're one with that present all the time. And if there is no limitation in God, and there is no limitation in God, all things are possible, even when facing the absolute unthinkable. Now, I lived in New York City working in the theater in the 80s, and people who got HIV/AIDS died in a week or two. It was just a death sentence. And I have a dear friend in California who was journeying with HIV and AIDS, and at one point in his life, he was very close to death. There was a T-cell count. I don't know if you can have a negative T-cell count, but it was almost at that place. And he was right at the beginning when these new drugs and cocktail of medicines came forth. And now, in this journey, he and his partner adopted a baby girl who's now attending high school, which is a little hard to believe, but there is no evidence of the disease, the virus, in his body. It can't be detected. That's God. That's love has the ability to do what we can't perceive, which is why it's courageous to step into, okay, God, I'm ready. I am one with you, and you're going to guide me. Now, we don't get what's going to happen from that. All we know is that God will guide us. It will be fulfilled because only love is real.
So God in action. John 3:18 says, "Let us love not in word or speech, but in truth and action." So building on what Gary shared, it was certainly positive thinking. It was certainly the people that upheld your friend in love. But I see that the medicine and the cocktail was the courage of this group of doctors at that particular time to say, this is not okay. I have a hope for healing. I have a dream that people are not going to get a life sentence and die because they don't have the medicine. So I feel called. I feel called, and I say yes to going after what was a very unpopular cure at that time or solution. I'm wearing my red sneakers today. Can you see them in the back? There you go. This is my reminder that I am love in action, that we are all God in action. It isn't enough to just stand in the corner and talk about what needs to happen, talk about possible solutions, talk about world peace. It is actually for us to get in tune and in alignment and tap into what is true for us, where we can be of service, where we can put left foot, left foot in the direction of action, of being divine love. It does take courage. If you're like me, sometimes we get so busy that the signal gets jammed from God, from our superpower source, right? If you don't know what you're called to do, if you don't know where you're called to be, I invite you to have the courage to sit still and get quiet and reflect back across the landscape of your life at the times when you spontaneously laughed, when you ran into an old friend and your heart just felt like it was going to burst, when you did something that you thought you were incapable of doing, you did it anyway, maybe kicking and screaming, and you felt the deepening glad of your essence grow and stretch. In the moment, it probably felt very uncomfortable. You probably wondered, what the heck am I doing here? But you put a little time and you put a little space in between what you feel called to do and the things and the ways we show up. And soon enough, hindsight goes, oh, it could be as small as smiling at a stranger and opening a door and saying, it's nice to see you. That person, for all you know, feels invisible that day. And you're going outside yourself with the truth of knowing that we are love in action and willing to exert ourselves to connect with one another and to be love, to be that healing energy in this world.
And that is the essence of our fifth unity principle.
It is.
To be it, to do it. It's when we, okay, roll up the sleeves and let's get to work. Let's do it. And again, I turn to my beloved Unity woman, Martha Smock. I love the women of Unity. Human love may change. God's love is unchanging. Human love may be possessive. God's love is freeing. We're both and. In our humanness, love, relationships, jobs, homes, opportunity, and being changes. When I look in the mirror, it's not the same love I looked at 40 years ago. It looks different. It is different because change is. Everything is changing in the human perspective. But in God's eternal presence, love is unchanging, never changes, is pure. And that one love is that one power everywhere present. Now, our human love, oh, we can get possessive. Mine. That's mine. If you've had any brothers or sisters or cousins or parents or friends or schoolmates, you know what the possession is. It can be another person, it could be a thing, it could be a car, it could be God. My God. You know my God hates all the people that I hate. Not really. Because God's love is freeing. God's love is now. And in the now moment, we're free to choose whatever we want. We can choose pain, or we can courageously choose love no matter what. It's our freedom. And as we identify making that courageous choice, we step into the freedom of God's love. Always present and completely free. God doesn't give us love with conditions. Well, if you do this, you get... It doesn't happen that way. It's uniformly given, freely given. And that's why only love is real.
That's right. That is right. And being human, sometimes it's easier said than done for us to actually take the time to take care of ourselves. I love what Katie said in the very beginning of our service about being pitchers and bowls. Reverend Jim Rosemurgy captures it beautifully, saying, until you love yourself, you will be unable to genuinely love your neighbors. So it's Christmas time, and we have a lot of things to do to prepare for our celebration. I am certain that every one of you, I hope it's not just me, can understand and knows the different signature between loving genuinely and loving forcefully. Like, I love you. I'm going to do this for you. When it's in that place, that rub, we are completely empty. We are hearing the cry of thirsty people and don't have anything in our pitcher to give. Heck, we're thirsty too and have our cup out going, someone help. And we are reflections for each other. We are mirrors for one another, aren't we? So if you're like me, this last week, I got to the begrudging love with my family, with my friends, with my boss, not this one. And, and instead of loving them, I was in the, I can find everything that they do wrong. If only they would take a shortcut. If only they would listen to me. If only they would, if only they would, if only they would. And what that translates for me is, Holy Mirror, Maggie, if only you would do for yourself. I have grown children. They can cook for themselves. I have 2 that drive. They can drive themselves. But what they can't do is make me take care of myself. I have more invitations than I do time to go to parties. I have more shopping than I do have funds in the bank to supply. So I have to get creative, and I need to take the time to fill myself up so I have the energy to find great gifts and wrap beautifully and bake 13 different types of Christmas cookies. I can't give lovingly. I can't see you each through the eyes of loving God if I am depleted. So while we're in this space of Christmas time, and while we have a ton of things to do, and we want to say yes to many of them, I invite you to choose again and consider yourself in the choice to say no thank you. I'm going to take a bubble bath. I'm going to get an extra hour of sleep. I'm going to fix myself a home-cooked meal and nourish my body well so that I have the energy and the vitality to see the world around me clearly, lovingly, authentically.
Beautiful. And this brings us to what we already know. Our master teacher Jesus said, love God with all your heart and soul, and love your neighbor as yourself. Boil that down, it's love. Being loving to ourselves, being loving to others. And we can't be loving to others if we're not loving ourselves. Thank you, Maggie. And we'll close this talk with this quote from May Rowland, who was the head of Silent Unity for many years. Again, the Unity women feed me with great wisdom. If you are not attracting the good you desire in your life, learn to express love. Become a radiating center of love, and you will find that love, the divine magnet within you, will change your whole world. Notice she doesn't say change the whole world, your world, because that's the you're living. And it's ours to navigate ourselves to that place where we can express from love. And if we can't do it, backtrack just a little bit, take care of self, do what we need to do, and then we can begin again. Right now, and as we turn to that divine love within, that Christ consciousness that's love God with all your heart and soul and love your neighbor as yourself is the activity of being the divine magnet. For as we're loving, what's reflected back to us is love. And isn't that beautiful? So let's take this moment to realize the love that we are by going into meditation.
Lord, prepare me a sanctuary, pure and holy, tried and true, with thanksgiving. I'll be a living sanctuary for you. Lord, teach our children to stop the fighting, start uniting, live as one. Let's get together, loving forever, a sanctuary for you. Lord, prepare me to be a sanctuary, pure and holy, tried and true, with thanksgiving. I'll be a living sanctuary for you.
Let us take a deep breath. And I invite you on the exhale to come home to your heart space. Come home to that indwelling Christ presence, the foundation of unconditional love. Breathing and resting here, let's take a look at what might be keeping us from offering our greatest good as love. Let's also take a look at what might be keeping us from receiving our greatest good in love. We all have 100 excuses. Don't have enough time. Don't have enough energy. Don't know which way is up or which way I'm going. I'm so busy. But if we can just set that aside and open our hearts wider, sit up straighter, and feel our expansiveness coming from our heart space, we are at the place of our love center. This is the bedrock of who we are. We are created in the image and likeness of God, and God is pure love. So take a deep breath and feel that love. Inhale and exhale. This place is where we come to take care of ourselves. This place is where we hear and feel the hand and voice of God, nudging us to strengthen ourselves, to grow deeper, to answer the need that is calling for our divine purpose, uniquely and individually ours. I want to invite you to take time in the silence to just marvel at this love. Revel in the warmth, the expansiveness, the unbound potential, possibility, reality that this love is as you. So let us breathe and rest here. Just feel this space. Feel this energy. Feel what it feels like to experience unconditional love and know that we are worthy of it. We are capable of it. Right here, right now, in the silence. feels good. It feels good to be in alignment with our truth, with the actual energy that created our presence in this body on this planet at this time. Feels good to be reminded that we can come home in every breath with every choice we make today, through this holiday season, and always. So with your heart space open, let us start to come back and feel our senses, know our environment, that we're in this beautiful sanctuary, in this safe and loving community. You can wiggle your toes and your fingers. You might want to roll your neck. Keep that heart space open. And when you're ready, open your eyes. Look to your left and look to your right. You are loved. Please affirm with me this affirmation now. The love of God expresses through me now. I am love, I am loved, and I am loving. And so it is.
And let's welcome our Unity Choir back up for Noel Peace Canon.
now is the time in our service where we have the opportunity to give back. Whether you have an offering financially, a tithe or a love offering, whether you have an intention, vision, prayer for this church, this community, and all that we are doing, and all of the people we serve beyond this place, I invite you now to put that on your heart and hold it close while we say this offering blessing. Divine love now fulfills my every good desire. I rejoice in my happy, prosperous life right now. So as we prepare for our walk of abundance, I want to remind you that all of our intentions, all of our prayers, our love offering, our tithes go into our shiny copper bowl. And then we invite you to take an affirmation from the wooden bowl. Take one for yourself, your friends, your family. They're a gift that we want you to enjoy. And we have some visitors here today. We are so happy to have you. Your presence is enough. And we invite you to please come up and help yourself to an affirmation. So let's celebrate with our walk of abundance.